in an example like this that getting in the zone is only for athletes, but that is not the case. I'm Danny, and this is the Memory Makers Podcast, the show that helps you create amazing customer experiences and make more memories. And today, I'm coming to you solo. Normally, we have Russ here with me, and we do either a back and forth episode or Russ does an interview with a guest. And today, we wanted to try a slightly different format and do a solo episode. And so that's what I'm going to do today, and I'm going to get right into the topic because I'm very excited about today's topic. I talk to a lot of business owners on a regular basis, and every business owner I know wants to grow their business, and they want to become better versions of themselves. They want to become the best version of themselves. And it got me thinking, who else is like that? What are the other types of people that are constantly striving to become better versions of themselves? And about 6-7 months ago, we had the Summer Olympics, and I was looking at the Olympic athletes. They are the best in the world at what they do. They're world class. They strive for excellence. And as business owners and business leaders, we also want to strive for excellence. And so I took a lot of time thinking and journaling and writing on this, and I came up with some lessons that business owners and business leaders can learn from Olympic athletes, even if we're not athletes ourselves, even if we don't play sports the same way they do. I think there are still very valuable lessons in here. So here's 3 that we're going to cover today. Lesson number 1, goals are not enough. We think about the Olympics, basically every athlete has a goal to win a medal. Just like in the NFL, every football team has a goal to win the Super Bowl, but only one team can win a Super Bowl, and only one athlete can earn a gold medal in any given sport. So this means that goals alone are not enough, because if every team in the NFL has a goal to win the Super Bowl and only one team can win the Super Bowl, that means that goals are not enough. You know, James Clear is the author of a book called Atomic Habits. And he's got a quote that I love that goes hand in hand with this. We don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems. We need the habits, the systems, practices, and mindsets in place every single day to help us achieve our biggest goals. We can have the goal, we can have the direction, we can know where we're trying to get, but if we don't have the plan that gets us there, it's a lot harder to make it happen. On our podcast, we did an episode a few weeks ago about the DOORS framework for goals, DOORS, and that is define, outcomes, obstacles, rhythm, and social. And to give a very brief recap, that is D, define success and exactly what that looks like. O for outcomes. What are the outcomes and the milestones along the way that you have to achieve that are going to get you there? O, obstacles. What are the obstacles that are going to get in your way and prevent you from achieving those outcomes and the defined goal itself? R for rhythm. What are the rhythms, the routines, and the habits you need to put in place in order to achieve the outcomes and the goal? And S for social, of who's the community that you have around you to help you push forward and to help hold you accountable. And this is why the rhythm part of the DOORS framework, the R, is so important. We need those daily and weekly and monthly habits as part of an overall plan in order to get to the goals that we're trying to achieve. Because if we have everything in that formula, but without the rhythm, we can't actually get there because we have to have the plan in place. You know, if you think back in the past and you think about a goal that you had, that you set for yourself, but you did not achieve. Compare that with the goals that you set that you have achieved. What was the difference between those 2 scenarios? There could be a lot of factors that go into this, but a lot of times for a lot of people, the difference was the goals they achieved had a system to get there, and the ones that they didn't achieve did not have a system. So just that reminder that goals are not enough. We need a system in order to get to where we're trying to go. Lesson number 2, getting in the zone. Almost every athlete has a pregame routine and ritual to get in the zone. They're priming their mind and body for peak performance. And a really great example of this at the most recent Olympics that we had is Steven Nedorozic. I think I'm saying his name correctly, from the U.S. men's gymnastics team. He was the one that everyone referred to as the pommel horse guy because he was the one that he competed in the pommel horse routine. Now, before he would compete, every time he would put on his headphones, he'd close his eyes and he would visualize. Now, people thought, and he was sleeping, it kind of looked like he was sleeping, but he was getting in the zone. He did what he needed to do in that moment and blocked out everything else that was a distraction, blocked out everything else that wasn't serving him. And he thought about, what do I need to do? How am I going to show up? And he went through and visualized the routine again and again and again and again until he walked up to the pommel horse and did his routine and nailed it. Now, it's easy to think in an example like this that getting in the zone is only for athletes, but that is not the case. You have opportunities every single day to get in the zone. Morning routines, working out, music, breathing exercises. These are all ways to help you prime yourself to be able to show up in the best way possible. There's a helpful kind of practical tip here that you can use as a way to get in the zone yourself. Come up with 2 to 3 aspirational words that you have for yourself. These are the kinds of characteristics that the best version of you shows up as. These are the kind of characteristics that maybe you're not as strong in, that you really want to grow into, that you really want to achieve. These could be words like resilient, visionary, communicator, leader, listener. There's hundreds of available words, but find these aspirational words that describe the best version of you. And before you go into a meeting, before you start a work activity, before you go on stage to speak, before you get into that client discussion, whatever the case is, take 30 seconds to a minute and just repeat that word back to yourself of I'm resilient, or I'm a communicator, or I listen. And think about how in that activity you're about to do that you could emulate that characteristic, that you could really bring it to life. And that allows you to really lean into that characteristic a little bit more and prime yourself to be resilient, or to be a visionary, or to be a communicator. Now, here's why this is important. Most people bring accidental energy to their meetings, their work, their life. Whatever they feel, whatever stress and baggage from the day they have, that's what they bring with them. Have you ever been in a meeting or conversation with another person where they kind of snap at you for no apparent reason? And then maybe they apologize and maybe they don't, but you can tell it had nothing to do with your interaction with them. It was something else that happened earlier in the day or the day before or a week before that was frustrating them. But then they brought that baggage into the conversation and they dumped it on you. We don't want to do that, right? And we don't want to be the kind of person that is taking the stress from one situation and bringing it into another. And so I like to think about this in a way of stop bringing accidental energy and start bringing intentional energy to everything that you do. So lesson number 3 in this list, don't compare your achievements to others. For some, third place can feel like the ultimate achievement. And for others, second place feels like a massive disappointment. There's an example that I can use here from the most recent Summer Olympics, and it was the men's U.S. gymnastics team. They got bronze medal as a team, and it was a massive accomplishment that hadn't been done by the U.S. men's team in the last 16 years. And they were so excited by this. But on the other hand, the men's Chinese gymnastics team got silver, and they were disappointed. Now, China achieved a better result than the U.S. in this particular sport, but based upon their reaction, you wouldn't have thought that. They wanted and expected gold, but they didn't achieve it, and it was a massive disappointment. So let's talk about a hypothetical. For the U.S. men's team, they got bronze, and they were thrilled with it. What would have happened if the U.S. men's team got bronze, and then immediately said, yeah, we got bronze, but we didn't get silver or gold. That thought process doesn't change the outcome. It does not change the medal they received, but it massively changes their joy, their pride, and their gratitude for what they achieved. Now, there's another phrase that I've liked to use in the past that happens with a lot of business owners and leaders, and I call it the gap trap, where they can recognize a win, recognize an accomplishment that they had or the business had, and then immediately shift to where it could have been better or could have been improved. And it's that phrase, yeah, but, that very often precedes it of, we were able to grow revenue 15%. Yeah, but it wasn't 17. We were able to book this many birthday parties. Yeah, but it wasn't this many. Now, comparison can be especially painful if you're comparing your chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 20 as an example, right? Imagine a brand new entrepreneur comparing their business to someone who's been operating for a decade and growing for a decade and learning for a decade. It's not really a fair comparison, and it's probably not even an accurate comparison, because in that situation, you might be comparing what you know in the inside of your business, your insides, with someone else's outsides, right? You don't actually know how profitable that other business is. You don't know what it costs them to get to that point. You don't know the warts that are under the hood, so to speak. Now, when I share this does not mean that we should simply be happy with what we have and that we should never strive for improvement, right? Because that's a big part of what makes high achievers, business owners, and business leaders good at what they do. They're always improving to get better. I'm not saying we shouldn't do that, but what I am saying is that it's important to take the time to celebrate our own successes and our own accomplishments first, and then improve to get better without comparing ourselves to other people. Then, once we've fully celebrated and we've filled our tanks with gratitude, only then do we move on to find the ways that we can improve to get better. I can give you a very practical example. One of the things that we do at Creative Works and Action Lab Leadership is the Amusement 360 event. And every single time that we host that event, as soon as it's over, we're celebrating, we're happy, and we're talking about all the things that we are proud and thankful for in that event. And then the next day, once we've celebrated and we fully sat in that feeling, then we get back to the drawing board and go, okay, let's look at some of our survey responses. Let's look at the flow of the event. How did this go here? Could we improve that? How can we tweak this to make that a little bit more seamless? We're always looking for ways to get better. But the key for us, and the key for the happiest and most fulfilled business owners, is that they don't skip the celebration step. Don't skip the celebration. Celebrate, then work to get better. And as you work to get better, become better than the past version of you. Become better than the past version of your business. Don't be so concerned with that business over there or this person over here and trying to be better than them. We all have kind of our own path and journey. Let's focus on where we are now, where we were yesterday, and where we're trying to get to tomorrow. And how can we get a little bit better every single day? As business owners and leaders, we're not Olympians, but I think that these are very powerful lessons that we can learn from people who've committed their life to being the best that they can possibly be in their particular activity, in their particular skill set. So as we look through this list again, it's create systems to be able to accomplish your goals. It's get in the zone to prime yourself to be in the right mental and emotional state to perform at your peak. And don't compare yourself with others. Simply celebrate the wins and get a little bit better than you were yesterday. And when we can do all three of those things, not only will we accomplish a whole lot more within our businesses, but I would guess and bet, because I've seen it so many times, you'll be a whole lot happier along the way. And that is where I'm going to wrap up today's first solo episode. We've got more awesome content coming your way. We got weekly episodes. Be sure to come back and hear more valuable insights as we continue bringing other people onto the show, doing some amazing interviews. If you enjoyed what you heard today, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review and let us know how you liked this solo format and how it landed with you. We'd appreciate those 5 stars. And if you've got ideas for future episodes, feel free to follow us on social media and send us a DM. Thanks to Mike behind the scenes who helps make all of this happen. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll catch you on the next episode.